welcome back to the workshop. Fantastic to have you here, because I did a little bit of tidying up here and I stacked up a billet of steel. It is in the fire. It's now hot, ready for us to forge weld. Oh yes, it's time to make the Scottish Claymore. This is just part of it. There's one little forge welding heat under the press. Back in the forge we go. I'm gonna get Mike Boyd to help us pronounce Scottish Claymore.
A Scottish Claymore.
Thank you, Mike. And the
Scottish Claymore
is a gigantic sword. We're gonna be making some Damascus. We're gonna be making some normal steel. It's gonna be an exciting project. Thank you so much for joining me. So what I am doing here is I am twisting this piece just a few inches at, ooh, little voice crack, few inches at a time by heating it up with the torch. This way I can get a really controlled amount of twist, and since it's so thick, it means that I'm just twisting a little bit at one time, which makes it a little bit easier. What it is that I'm using is a big old cheap wrench, cheapest thing I could find at a hardware store, with a bit of steel welded to it. That way I can get around it on both sides. A lot of folks that do a lot of twisting, they've made themselves machines where they'll have a, where they'll have a big old motor and a gearbox on it turning really, really slow, and they'll throw that hot piece of steel and then twist the whole thing, which would be a lot easier. I don't have one of those. So instead, just doing it by hand, a little bit of torch work, take my time with it. So here we go. We have some twisted Damascus. This is exciting and very different. Why is this interesting? This is interesting because usually on this channel you've seen me make mosaic Damascus, and what that means is that I'm manipulating the pattern and forming the pattern from the end grain of the pieces of steel and then flipping it up onto the end grain and putting the end grain onto the side. Here, however, by twisting it, what we take is we take the layers that are running longitudinally, we twist them, and then all of a sudden these layered bits become apparent on the sides. And so we're able to develop the pattern button on the side without having to then flip it up. So this means that when we have these three pieces and we weld them together in this direction, we're going to get ourselves a beautiful pattern that is repeating from side to side like this as it is twisted, and it should look rather wonderful. Now, this obviously is far too little steel to use for the entire
Claymore.
This is just going to be a part of the construction, and we are going to do something else to it to add a lot of mass to it, and that is going to be later. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the TIG welder, we're going to tack it together, we're going to put on a handle, and we're going to weld this together and get this stuck. Dougly, so we got a lot of metal to add on to that piece tomorrow so that we can indeed make a sword with a meter-long blade. That is right, of course, as you guys know, we are making
A Scottish Claymore.
which has a meter-plus long blade. It's a ginormous sword. This is going to be an exciting project. And you know, it's funny because just before I was starting this, I was getting super nervous about the project and taking it on and committing to get started and cracking on into it. And I'm starting to really enjoy those nerves, because those nerves are an indication that there is a lot for me to learn in this project, which means there's a lot of mistakes for me to make, lots of things to overcome. So make sure that you subscribe so that you can see the whole process, so that you can see all the mistakes that I make, and so you can see me learn along the way how to do things better, because this is what it's all about. It's about making things, about learning, and it is about having a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you go get your fantastic t-shirt, and I will see you tomorrow on the next episode of Working on Our
Scottish Claymore.
Thanks for watching Scottish Claymore.